It's coming out of my black scalp, so it's black hair.
I was triggered by this story, and I'm gonna tell you why. She tells her story about, and you could look at her page, she tells her story about how she told a guy that she didn't want to date him or she didn't want to give him her number, and he hit her with a brick. Now, the details of the story don't matter. The point is, people don't have self-control, and I think I talked about this earlier today with another person.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. We have to follow up on the story about the feminist woman getting hit in the face with a brick by a man after allegedly rejecting him when he asked for her phone number. Now, we can't really confirm if that story is true in regards to what she claims happened. The last video I did about this was a guy who came out as a witness and basically stated that this woman essentially put herself in that situation by being disrespectful, by essentially going off on the man that allegedly hit her in the face with a brick. And she basically was kind of talking herself into what happened to her. Clearly, obviously, she does not deserve to get hit in the face with a brick if that's what actually happened. But again, according to a witness, she wasn't really doing herself any favors in regards to how she handled the situation. She turned around and then begged for the help of the men who were standing around her and did nothing about it. Okay, now, this person in the past had basically said that women don't need men for protection, right? The true providers and protectors of our society are actually women, not men. Okay, and this has sparked a very fascinating conversation on social media between men and women about this conversation of should men have stepped up to protect this feminist who got hit in the face with a brick, right? A lot of men are coming out and saying no, and a lot of women are upset about that and saying, well, you're a coward, right? You're a coward because you won't defend a random feminist woman who got hit in the face with a brick by another man. So again, that has sparked some interesting responses and conversations on TikTok. One that is going super viral, a woman, a strong woman, I would say, who happens to be black, put her opinion out there that pissed off a lot of feminists, okay, because she tells the truth about gender roles and how she respects the authority of men, okay, and there's certain women that deserve protection, there's certain women that don't. And now she's been called a pick-me for essentially saying the quiet part out loud about how a lot of men feel in regards to who deserves to be protected and who doesn't when it comes to women. Take a look.
In regards to black women not being protected, let me first state the obvious. No man should put his hands on a woman. We desire protection, but sometimes what we don't understand is that true protection comes with a level of control. Bodyguards are a good example. A bodyguard will make their client leave from a dangerous place. The bodyguard has to know all the details: who, what, when, where, why, and how. And the client has to listen to the bodyguard and follow the instruction that the bodyguard gives them. It's really an agreement between all parties involved. When the person who needs protecting does not follow the instruction and the direction of the protector, it puts the protector in a situation where they're more likely to lose their life. I have 4 brothers and a father, and I listen to their instruction even when they're not around. They have told me to stay away from certain places if I'm by myself or if it's late at night. They've also advised me not to be drunk or high in certain situations. Even though my brothers, my dad, and the men in my life protect me, I in turn protect them by listening to them and following their instruction. They don't have to come to my defense in some wild scenario, because if I listened to them, I wouldn't have been there in the first place. And this is another thing I feel like is pertinent to say, and I know folks ain't gonna like this one. I don't have sons right now, but when I do have sons, I'm gonna teach them that there's a difference between diamonds and dirt and rubies and rocks. Rubies and diamonds are often in jewelry stores. They're in glass cases, they're secured, there's an alarm system. There's a lot of layers of protection because those things are valuable. But you could pull over to the side of the road and find some dirt and rocks. Expecting a man to risk his well-being, his future, and his life on someone who does not see value in themselves or the man is asinine. That's a very asinine thing to ask. All I'm saying is protection comes with a little bit of sacrifice. It comes with a little bit of control. And me personally, I feel that what I have to sacrifice and the amount of control I have to give up is 100% worth it to receive the protection that I've been getting my whole life.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy. That's, wow, true. There ain't nothing that she said that I disagree with, right? Ain't nothing that she said. She really does understand the proper role of men and women, okay? If you want a man to protect you, okay, then first and foremost, you should be worth protecting, right? You should be out and about at these places late at night where you're not supposed to be, okay? Basically degrading yourself. You don't value the protection of men, clearly, right? But yet you expect a man to sacrifice his life to protect somebody who clearly doesn't value themselves, right? And the women that do deserve the protection are the ones that, hey, you know, they at least carry themselves with some type of value. And she's willing to give up some control over her life and what she does in exchange for protection and security from a man. Okay, I don't disagree with that, right? I don't disagree with that. I also don't disagree with how she clearly has respect for the men in her life, whether it be her brothers or her father, who she takes orders and directions from in regards to how to keep herself safe so they don't have to put themselves in a situation where they're going to get hurt because she's being reckless, okay? I love it, right? This is, in my opinion, the definition of a strong woman. A strong woman is a woman that understands her role as a woman, which is to understand that you're not a man, right? And that men and women have distinct roles, okay? I don't see her putting herself in a situation where she would get hit in the face with a brick, okay? I really don't. I really don't see it, okay? I'm just saying, at least not by a man, that is. But hey, you do have some angry feminists who have decided to respond to this strong woman, telling her that she is a pick-me. She's a pick-me and basically having an issue with her opinion. Take a look.
In regards to black women not being protected, let me first state the obvious. No man.
Hey sis, hey hon. Don't mind my outward appearance. I literally just woke up. But I saw your video yesterday. And weren't you the same lady that had said that about the headscarf thing when people go into the dental office or something like that? I think that was you. And to see now that you are making videos about teaching your future son the difference between diamonds and dirt, difference between a woman that is the diamond and a woman that is dirt. Once again, you give male-centered and male-identified. So I just want to know, how do you decipher this diamonds and dirt? Like, what do you tell your son what a woman that looks like dirt looks like? That is dirt looks like? And how do you think that you're not perpetuating the same kind of inhumane thinking that other men have of women? Because I just need to know what dirt looks like to you when it comes to women.
But when I do have sons, I'm going to teach them that there's a difference between diamonds and dirt.
That sure was an analogy. That way of thinking is already what most men believe anyway. That a woman is only worthy if she is 1, family, or 2, someone I can sleep with. If you don't fall under either of those categories, you are essentially useless. Which is why, in cases like this, where a man asks a woman for her number and she turns him down, he will then immediately attempt to end her life because she is now completely useless, because she will not be A, making him a sandwich, or B, having his children. Because if you cannot be motherly or sexy, or both, then you are of no use to any man on this planet. And if we were wondering why this way of thinking doesn't change just by you simply having a mother, no, every misogynist's favorite line, I love my mother, is because your mother is reinforcing this. It's literally what Pick Misha here is doing. Because even to most women, there are certain type of women who do not deserve saving.
They've also advised me not to be drunk or high in certain situations.
Okay, y'all gonna have to forgive me. I'm a man, butting in women folk business, and I know I shouldn't, but I had to say this. This is incredibly dangerous and misguided. I don't know if you thought you were being deep or you thought you were making a point. Bro, you basically victim blame and say that women shouldn't be drunk or high. They can't have fun. They need to be aware of their surroundings. And while I do agree to a certain extent that people should be aware of their surroundings, for sure, but it's on the onus of men to not do stupid shit or dangerous shit or harmful shit to women. The onus is on the man. It's not on the woman to make sure that there's that. And I think this whole TikTok is very victim blamey. It's very weird, and you're coming off as a pick me. And that's a goddamn shame because you're fighting it for your own.
Don't understand is that true protection comes with a level of control. Bodyguards are a good.
So in order for me to have true protection from a man, I have to allow him to control my mind, my body, my decision-making skills. He gets to decide whether or not I would have boundaries or privacy. Then you go on and compare the true protection of a man to a bodyguard and his fucking client. A client who is paying for a service. So I guess if Ro would have had those men on her payroll, they would have protected her. Oh my God. Why didn't we think of that? She makes pick-me content. Then you're already imagining the conversation you're going to have with your two sons. Some children that don't exist. What if you don't have two sons? What if you have daughters instead? How would the conversation go then? You know you can't pick the gender, right? You know that?
Yeah, so if she had daughters instead, I can imagine that what she would tell her daughters is the same thing that her fathers told her, right? I'm sure that's exactly what she would tell her daughters, right? I mean, it's so hilarious. You guys noticed the pattern, right? The bonnet pattern going on here of the women that are upset with this woman, okay, who I think is, you know, in my opinion, she just seems to be a lot more put together, right, than the angry feminist and the simps, right? They're upset that she's telling the truth about how men see women that are worth protecting, those that are worth protecting and those that are not. Because again, you're asking a man to sacrifice his life to protect a woman who does not appreciate or respect men, right? And this is something that is common among a lot of modern women, is the lack of respect and appreciation for men. So asking a man to sacrifice his life to protect a random woman who is in a situation where she's alone, she doesn't have a man. In this case, she doesn't have a man because she's a lesbian, right? She doesn't believe in the protection of a man, okay? So again, these are life choices. These are her choices, okay? She's in a situation like that. Allegedly, she got hit with a brick. Who knows? We don't really know what actually happened. There's reasons to suggest that that's not what happened, but let's go with her story. You expect a man to defend a random person he doesn't know, he has no attachment to whatsoever, simply because she's a woman. I'm just saying, like, why would you expect a man to put his life on the line for a woman that provides no value whatsoever to him or to the community as a whole? I don't understand it. I don't get it. I get it. These people are dense. This is not about men being cowards, because what you have here is a bunch of women who probably don't have men in their lives, who probably don't like men, who are probably feminist types, don't think they need men, but they want the protection of a man without actually having to sacrifice, okay, to give up what it takes to get the protection of a man. Because yes, protection from a man is conditional. Yes, you have to be providing something of value to me if you want to be protected, right? Just like in order for a woman to submit to a man has to be providing something of value to her, right? Women aren't submitting to any man that's not bringing value to her. So yes, it is transactional, 100%. 100%. And people that pretend that relationships aren't transactional, you're living in Cuckoo for Cocoa Puff world, right? Relationships are 100% transactional. And in fact, if you remember that, okay, if you take that to heart, you're probably more likely to stay in a relationship longer, to be more successful, because you remember that you always need to continue to bring things of value to the table if you want the relationship to work, right? I think a lot of relationships don't work when both parties or one of the parties decides that, hey, I don't need to keep bringing things to the table, right? I don't need to continue to be a valuable asset in this relationship. Yeah, I think that's how they fall apart. But in general, relationships are transactional, okay? And if you want the protection of a man, yeah, you need to be providing something of value to a man. That's why men only protect women that they see are of value to them, okay? Yeah, if a man doesn't protect his mother, his daughter, or his sister, yeah, I can call that man a coward, right? Because at that point, yeah, I think a man is expected to put his life on the line for women in his family, right? Women that, as a man, his natural role is to protect and to provide for. But it's not his role to protect and provide for somebody else's woman, right? Especially a woman that don't even want a man, doesn't even like men. She likes women, right? And she also believes that women can protect society. So again, she should be expecting women to protect her. All these women on the internet that are complaining about black men not stepping up actually really need to be asking themselves, why are they not stepping up, right? Why did more black women step up and protect this woman, okay, since men and women are equal, right? Men and women are equal. Again, this is what we're talking about. This is what men are talking about when we say that women want a traditional man without actually wanting to be a traditional woman. They don't want to bring the traditionalism of a woman to the table, but they want a man to be traditional. That's just not how it works. And that's what this woman who's being called a pick-me is getting at when she says that, hey, I have to give up a certain degree of autonomy if I want protection from men. I have to be careful how I carry myself and don't put myself in environments where things like that are likely to happen, where men may not see me as somebody that is worth protecting, okay? So I'm sure this woman, because she's listening to her father, okay, she's listening to her brother, she's listening to the men in her life, she's very likely not even put herself in a situation like that, right? It's very unlikely she's going to be out late at night, high, drunk, doesn't know where she's at some random nightclub around a whole bunch of random men without a man around her that she trusts, that she knows is actually going to protect her. I don't see her putting herself in that situation. Therefore, she probably doesn't ever have to worry about being hit with a brick. Because typically, women don't have to worry about being hit in the face with a brick if they're at a church or they're at a library or they're at a place where, you know, respectable women hang out, right? I'm just saying. Typically, they're not going to have to worry about it. Now, again, if something like that was to happen, okay, because you're at a church, because you're at a library, because you're at a place that's not outside of a nightclub at 1 a.m. in the morning, it's probably likely that men are more likely to see her as a woman of value that is worth defending, even if she's not directly providing value to them, because she's probably an asset to the community as a whole, right? Or it's easy to see her as an asset to the community as a whole, right? Therefore, she's probably worth protecting and maybe stepping in for if she does not have a man in her presence that she trusts or that she has a relationship with that will do that for her. So I'm just saying, this woman is 100% right. Women need to take accountability and responsibility for putting themselves in bad situations. And again, that doesn't mean that it's okay for men to do that, or I'm trying to relieve any type of accountability or responsibility from men that assault or attack women. Clearly not. But you got to understand, there are bad men out there that are going to do that, right? And it's nothing wrong with giving a woman practical advice and letting her know that, hey, as a woman, you're not as strong as a man. You can't take on a man. And you need to move in a certain way and carry yourself in a certain way that minimizes the chances that you're going to end up in a bad situation like that, right? I'm just saying, it's really that simple. That's not saying that women can't go out to nightclubs and dance and have fun and party. Sure, they can do that. There's nothing wrong with that. But I'm just saying, if a woman's going to do that, she needs to understand that, hey, these are the risks associated with that. And at very least, you know, hey, don't run around carrying yourself as if you don't respect men and that you hate men and you're slapping men. And then once something happens to you, the first thing you do is turn around and expect a man to help you when clearly you don't value the role of a man. I'm just saying, right? You know, I mean, if that's the way that you're going to carry yourself, then you need to make sure at the very least you're not putting yourself in situations where you might need a man's help, right? You might want to avoid those type of situations if you're not going to value the role of a man until you actually need the help of a man. I'm just saying. I don't think this woman said anything wrong. I don't think she's a pick-me. I just think she is grounded in the reality of proper gender roles. But hey, let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.